Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a day on some Devilbisses. I'm going to give you a review on two gun setups. So you'll get to see me spraying live, and then you're going to get a little chat on split screen on the guns, a bit about the guns, setups, air caps and things like that, and then you can run through and you can see me spraying on the opposite side. So enjoy the video guys, and I'll see you through this video and at the end. See you in the first stage. Right guys, I'm going to give you a little talk through about the Devilbiss that I'm using. So as you can see now, I'm dropping the first coat of base coat down. Now I'm using the GTI Pro. This is a blue one. It's a 1.4 setup in this, and I'm using the Te10 cap. So I've got the same gun here, but this is just the black version, and we've got the Te10 cap just here. Now this cap is great for the base coat. You've got on this cap, you've got on the centre, you've got 3 holes either side on the centre cap on this one, which is the Te10. So that's the one we're using now. Really comfortable gun, I find. It's a little bit heavier than the Pro Light because the Pro Light was made and it was a lot lighter, but I find the GTI Pro a nice weight. I prefer the GTI Pro than the Pro Light. So as you can see, we're buzzing round now and dropping this first coat of base coat down. We're going around getting the edges. I'm running this about 24, 25 psi and just going for like a sealed off coat just to colour this fender up. Going for a dark colour first, just finishing this one off now as you can see. So we're going full fan on this. This is about 2.5 turns out on fluid. So that's the first one done, so it's just full coverage to get a dark colour to go off for the next colour. Now we're starting this one. So basically just going around, getting them edges on that long straight there, working round, then moving down, just getting them edges. And this gun absolutely hammers the base down, and it really atomises well with this cap. You can have the pressure right down and it just atomises really nice with this gun. So we're now working up on there and just giving this a solid colour, nice and quick. Doing these fenders like this was really fast. Going around, working around. Some people start and do the edges all first, but I'll sort of work around and get the edges as I go along. So as you can see there, I'm dropping that edge in, bottom edge, and then working up again. And getting that flat around that little bit there where the switches go on the fender, getting the edges on that opening there, and just colouring this fender up so it's nice and easy. You're not going for a really nice coat on it, you're just going to finish this and colour it all up as you can see there. So we're just finishing this one off, and I'll do that to all the 5 fenders the same way with that cap and that gun setup, exactly the same. I won't change it, and just colour all them fenders up. So the next stage is going to be the next colour of base coat. So just opening up and just checking the fan on that. Now this is the lighter blue, so we're going for full coverage on this. So a little bit slower, a little bit more wetting this coat up to get it to full colour, working around. So as you can see that it really looks quite wet. So you're getting this full coverage on one coat. Same pressure, a little bit more on the fluid on this, and as I say, we're working around and getting them edges as we go along. So I'm moving along, getting the edges, and then working my way around the fender, just getting it all coloured up. Now the blue gun that I'm using here, that gun must be about 10 to 12 years old, and it is still working absolutely fine. The baffle's never been changed in that gun. It's been an absolute dream to work with. I love using that blue gun for base. Whenever we get to do any colours, I'm always picking that gun up in the body shop, giving it a clean through and picking it up. It's really worn, and all the actual blue anodised is really worn where your hand is, but it's just a great gun. So this just proves on how good these Devilbiss guns are. They last, guys. So if you're looking for a decent gun, get yourself a couple of caps. You could get the Te10 cap for the base, and then you could pick like a T110 up, or the Te20, and you could use the same gun for clear coat. Outstanding gun. I think the price on these are around, they're probably around about the 250 mark, but you can get these second hand. I picked this one up, which was new off of a friend, and I got this for 110 with the HV30 cap, and I got a the adapter for the PPS cups for the top. So I got the adapter as well for 110 for that, and it was brand new. So a really good gun. I'm glad I got one. I've got the Pro Light as well, but I always tend to pick the GTI Pro up. I just feel it's a little bit more weightier, and I prefer that weightier feel in my hand as we're using it. So we're moving on to the next one. This is the last one on this colouring up, and I'm angling the gun on that. So as I'm coming down, because this fender's sitting on a trestle, I angle the gun and get a full fan that way on that small edge coming down, working round, down on that straight, a few passes on that straight to colour it up. Just whizzed on them sides and got that little edge. Like I say, I'm working around, getting the edges as I'm going along. Now we're moving on to the flat, so it's a quick flick underneath to get that bottom edge, a few passes, and then we're working on that going up. Now the overlap I'm using on that to get full coverage, I'm going up probably like 50 going up, 50 overlap on that, working my way up, coming up to the top, and you can see that colour is really wetted up to get full coverage, and you can see the overlap I'm using there. Oh, we're going to fill the gun up. It does eat the paint, guys, when you're opening this right up like this and going full coverage. You're going through quite a bit of paint to get it to colour up, but you can see the overlap past there is quite close, and I'm just on and off the trigger because you've got that little edge that sits up on that fender, and as you're coming across, I'm just flicking off the trigger as I'm coming across so I don't get a build up of paint on that flat edge. So you're always on and off the trigger doing these. Very rarely you're full on the trigger and just keep the trigger full on. You're basically feathering the trigger as you're working around these panels. A little bit round where them switches are, and then going on the underneath side, working around the top. And I do it in passes, like I said before. I'll go sort of a pass of 2 feet and then work my way along, as you see there, working along, down on that side, catching that underneath, and then working back up. So this one's nearly done, or we coloured this one up. Same with all the other 5 fenders, do this exactly the same setup with the gun. After this I'll let these fully dry down, then I tack back these off, stack gun them down, and then we can move on to the clear coat stage. So we're dropping the first coat of clear down now. No, we're not, we're doing a drop coat. This is the final drop coat. So you're backing off with the gun. I'm going off about double the distance on the gun, backing off, drop the pressure down slightly, and then just doing a nice controlled drop coat over this. And then when you see this drop down on the actual panel, it goes like a satin look when it lays down on the panel, and it's a nice even satin look on that metallic when you look at it. And I try and keep it sort of one way and just follow it all the sort of same way, so the metallic lays down nice. So as you can see there, it just looks like a nice soft sheen on that as you're going along, and just get that even coverage all over the panel. So we do a drop coat on all of these, all 5, same way throughout, consistent all the way through. Drop that pressure down and just back the gun off and just let it lay down and just drop down really nice. So this will be the last drop coat on this one. So along that edge, then on that flat there, and then straight down, and then you start working the side and just go up in your passes, nice overlap, working your way up to the top, nice and easy on the drop coat, working around to the top there, and then just start coming down the front of the fender like that, nice even all the way over. and then I'll do a little flick and pass across the front just to catch that front edge like that, and then work around the side and just do a full line all the way along down to the back, and then just start working over and walking it over like that, front to back. And that's how I do the drop coats on all of these, and you get that, like I say, you get that nice satin look when it's dropped down. So that's the drop coat done. I'll be switching the gun up, and you'll see me with this one now, which is the black one, and the actual air cap that we're using is the Te10. So this is the first coat. We've got full fan, and as you can see, that fan looks quite big on that pass as we're working round. I'm running 2 bar pressure, and I've got the fluid set to 2.5 turns out on the first coat. Now this is sort of quite a quick coat. It's quite fast going around this, overlap consistent, working all your way up. And I'm just going for a wet coat, not a full-on wet coat, but just a nice closed wet coat, as you can see there. Just working down. And I've got the distance of the gun with this. It's probably about 7 to 8 inches away from the panel. I think the pressure is a little bit higher on this as I'm working round. Just coming round to the bottom of that fender, bit on that flat there, and then round that side, 1 pass up, and then I'll start moving around and working over to the top. And as I say, I do this in little blocks. I'll sort of work away along and sort of block across the top, working all the way down to the back on this one. I tend to paint these different ways each time I go around them. I'll just try different ways, but it's usually this way that you see now. So I'm like walking that sort of out, a long pass. Consistent on the overlap, speed the same. Nice coverage on that. The first coat went down really well, and there was a little bit of dirt in it, but you're going to get that on these in your first coat. Fill the gun up, because I know there was a drop in it. It was about to sort of here, and I thought I'm not going to get halfway then walk back round. I'll fill it up now. So I'm filling the cup to about, I never go above the, it's about to the top of the Devilbiss logo there on the actual cup. That's how much I fill it to, because I've had some times where you fill these a bit too much and you can get a little bit of spillage out of the cups, and I've had that before where I've spilt it. It dripped out the cup, dripped onto the fender, and it's been an absolute nightmare. So I'll only fill it to about where the top logo is on the actual Devilbiss cup. So we're working around on this one, on the flat. Now we're on the bottom edge. And just a nice, same speed on this, working the way up. Nice overlap, consistent all the way up. Distance, consistent all the way up. And just work around your panels. Treat your panels like a box and do a side, a flat, and work round like that. And if you've got angles on your panels as you're moving round, move your gun to that angle. Keep your same distance, but follow the angles round as best you can. And always sort of go, if you're painting something flat and square, go past. So if it finishes there, just spray past, always go past, so you're not going to get a dry edge, you're consistent with that wet edge as you're moving around. So we're coming up and just finishing this first coat off on this one. So as you can see, that's wetting up really nice on this, on the first coat. Now just doing that edge. And I find this cap with this, I've been used to the W400, which is real tight fan pattern. This one's a little bit more open as your spray. It's a little bit more sort of like fierce, if you like, but it drops the clear down really nice. You get a really nice finish with it. So we're moving on to the second coat, and it will be exactly the same air pressure on this, and I've just opened the fluid up more, and I'm just going a lot slower. As you can see, that's a lot slower control and just nice. Overlaps a little bit tighter on this one, but just a lot slower, going the same way round, but the overlap just closed up a little bit more, just to get a little bit more build on the clear coat, because this is the final coat. So just take your time, same way round, and this is glossing up really nice now on this. And you can see the sort of distance where it's coming down on that top. You're getting sort of a wet pass, like that, and you're just coming down and following that wet edge, and just moving that, you're just pushing that wet edge around the panel until you get to the final piece. So we come across the front, and just a little flick on that edge that sits upright on that fender. You don't want to go too heavy on that, so I'm just bringing the trigger off and just feathering it off as I come up that edge, so I don't get too much of a build up, because you can get runs along that edge there. We're coming around on the flat, so now you can really close your overlap up and just load it up on this top, and you can just see it sort of leveling out on this top. Working down the back, dropping onto the side, working down. Nice, steady, and that is actual speed, guys. That's like slow. I'm really slowing down with this and letting that clear build up. I'm just looking at the clear and just seeing it as that gun's going down, just looking at the clear and seeing what the clear's doing. And you can just see it build up, build up, build up, and just move and move and move. And then you just see it sort of like, it sort of wells up and then starts to just flow out. So topping the gun up again, taking it up to about here on the gun, don't like to go any further. Drop more clear, and always filter your clear coat when you're painting. I'll always tend to filter it into the cut, sort of double filter it as we go along. So onto that edge, going down, and a final pass going up, so that's wetted that up. Couple of passes on that flat piece there, turn the gun round, nice build up on that top piece there, and then working down that flat edge. Few passes on that covers that up, wets it up nice. Onto the side, and then same again, nice overlap, speed consistent, your distance, keep it nice. And we're just going on the trigger as we're coming to the end of the fender. I'm coming past the end and then taking the trigger off, and then back on and off with the trigger, just feathering that trigger to go along. Onto the top, little bit round the front. See, I've done this one different. I've gone to the front edge there, and now I'm working from the top and working down. And half the time it's the hose. It's either wrapped around the trestle, wrapped around my leg, and I actually tripped, it's not on video, but I tripped on the hose. I was doing another run after these, another lot of fenders, and I tripped on the hose flipped up and caught the bottom end of the fender, and it left the hose line in the clear coat, and it was like, oh, it was just flowing out. So I thought, best thing I can do is load it up. So I went back in with the clear and just loaded up over where it had hit it, built the clear up, stuck it on bait, so when it comes to tomorrow and they take it off bait, there's plenty of clear on there, and you should be able to flat it and just get that line out where the hose had flipped up and knocked it. But I'll show you that tomorrow, because we're back in the booth tomorrow, and I'll just do a little pan round on that and what happened. So we're just finishing this one off on the second coat. Nice, controlled, using the Te10 cap, and this is the 1.3 setup. So we're going like 3 turns out on fluid on the final coat, 2 bar pressure, and that's the finished coat. Now here's a little pan round of the fenders now they're all done. And that's the finish on them, guys. It come out really, really nice. That's flowing out nice now on them. So a good finish all round with them 2 guns. Brilliant guns. Right, there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video on the base coat stage and the clear coat stage. We've used 2 Devilbiss spray guns, 2 GTI Pros, one on a 1.4, one on a 1.3, and that's the results we're getting. They've come out really nice, flowing out really nice now. Great finish with the Te20 cap for the clear coat, and hands down it's a great cap. The Te10 for the base coat. Love it, just drops the base coat down really nice, and you can drop your pressure down with that cap and it just atomises brilliantly. So two great guns, highly recommended. They've been on the scene for a lot of years and they're worth their weight in gold. They're two cracking guns. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you join me in the next one, which will be back in the body shop. We're in tomorrow and we're painting some weird stuff tomorrow, so join me tomorrow and see what stuff we're going to paint. So thanks for watching. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe, press that notification. It does help the channel grow, guys. Thank you for all the comments that are coming across, much appreciated, and I'll see you tomorrow.